leaders, and welcome to the Authentic Edge Leadership Huddle. Thanks for joining me today. Those of you who are live or those of you on the replay, tell me, would you, what brought you here today? I love hanging out with you, even if it's only for 10 minutes. And I would love to hear what brought you here today. Did you get an invitation that you accepted? Are you here to get a new idea for your leadership to re-energize yourself? We do 10 minutes every other week of one bite-sized leadership concept and one action that you can immediately implement in your leadership. And I'm excited to share today's Play the Day with you. Today, we are going to talk about engaging people in conversation and avoiding those awkward silences that, maybe some leaders sometimes experience. I know this wouldn't be familiar to you at all, right? Think about the last time that you were in a meeting and you had done your part. You had shared your idea, downloaded that information, done that presentation, or maybe you were just giving direction to someone about what needs to happen next. You've done your part and now it's their turn and you're waiting for them to respond. Except all you hear is crickets. Having a little fun. But you know what I'm talking about. Those awkward silences that can happen in those meetings. And we start saying to ourselves, anyone? Anyone? We really want people to engage. We want it to be a two-way conversation, not just a one-way conversation. And when this happens to us, what can happen is we start thinking, why aren't people responding? They must be multitasking. They must be distracted. I must be boring. And we go off on these tangents as to what might be happening out there. I'd like you to consider something different today in the huddle. We want to take a slow-mo camera and go to that meeting that you were just thinking about, that last time where the crickets showed up, or the one-word answers, or the funny look, the stare down. Go to that meeting and back it up just a minute to what was the last thing that you said to tee up the dialogue? What did you say right before you expected them to respond? If you are like most of the leaders that I talk to, and even myself, if I'm not careful, you might have said something like, does that make sense? Or, what do you think? Maybe your go-to is, any questions? So why don't these work? Why don't they work? Well, does that make any sense? Is a closed question. The only answer is yes or no. And people don't respond with dialogue to a yes or no question, right? So we haven't teed it up for dialogue. Any questions? Or what do you think? Those are open-ended. There's a lot of possible responses. But I'm telling you, the space for those is wide open. You could drive a truck through it. So people don't know where to go with that. They're not sure where to focus their attention. It's so wide open that they also can feel other people's eyes on them in the meeting. Well, if I ask my question, will I look stupid? if I share it now, will I be wasting someone's time? People probably want to get off this meeting and I shouldn't ask it right now. And so they hesitate because it's so wide open. They've got too much time to think. So what on earth do we do instead to tee up this dialogue that we so desperately want and to get rid of those darn crickets? Today, I have 3 things for you, tangible things that you can say to tee that up. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the power of numbers. Now, you're going to not have to write down these 3 things. You'll be able to download the huddle card at the end of this session so that you can have that to stick on your desktop and practice anytime you want and to try it out and experiment. But let's take a look at how you can use numbers in 3 ways right before you're expecting someone to respond to tee up that dialogue. Way number 1 is 0 to 10. 0 to 10, how confident are you in delivering on this project? They know exactly what to respond to. How confident are they? If they're a 7 and that's all they give you is a number, then the follow-up question is, what would make it an 8? If they're a 3, you're getting the feedback that they don't have what they need. So you can follow up with, well, what would you need? You can modify this to anything you want. How excited are you? How much are you dreading this? How successful do you think this plan could be? Right? 0 to 10 will help people react, and it's like magic in a meeting. People will tell you their number and they'll tell you why, and they'll fall right into all the things that they're thinking and they'll say them out loud. Second way to use numbers, 1 thing. Ask them for 1 thing that will get in their way of doing this. 1 thing that they think will be the biggest challenge. 1 thing that they're looking forward to about it. You can modify this one all over the place to make it yours. But when you ask them for 1 thing, it feels tangible and small, and they will respond. Last one is 2 people. Great leaders remind their people that they have stakeholders and that they're not doing this alone in silos. You want those people to break down their silos and talk to each other? Your prompt to them is, who are 2 people who you would need to have a conversation with for this to go smoothly? Who are 2 people who are allies in this for you that you could reach out to? Who are 2 people who might resist this that you're going to want to chat with to pave the way? See what I'm saying? All of the things they're thinking about why something isn't going to work, what on earth are they going to do? You tee it up by asking them with numbers, and suddenly their comments are okay to say. They don't need to be nervous about it, and the conversation begins naturally. When I started using these types of prompts at the end of my closing remarks before I expected someone to respond to me, I felt like it was magic. Suddenly people talked where they weren't talking before, and I wasn't complaining or worrying or wondering after the meeting. You actually need to look at it like a new habit, that you need to look at, how am I teeing this up or not? And what could I try differently? And keeping those ideas in front of you so that you can try it out and riff on it to make it work for you. Try this out in your daily leadership and let me know. I would love for you to respond in the comments, send me an email. Tell me how it worked for you. Tell me what made the magic happen in getting the dialogue going rather than those crickets that we often hear. You know, if you want more of these ideas, we have another leadership huddle on August the 9th coming up. And if you are a learning and development person, a leadership development person in your organization, and you're thinking ahead to fall and how to engage your leaders and learners in leadership development, in learning and development, you are not going to want to miss our session on Thursday, August the 4th at 11:30 a.m. We're going to have an AE leadership collaborative. And I can't wait to share with you the 3 ideas that I have for fall to try, and for all the people that join us together on the call to share what they're thinking and doing about all the changes coming down the pike and how we need to be responsive and therefore our leaders and help them grow and not add to their plate or ours. So I hope you join me on August the 4th, if that is your category. And those of you today who are just here for the huddle, I hope that you are able to download the huddle card and use it and let me know how it went. The huddle card information will come up in the chat for you. I hope your day is awesome. Lead on, my friends. Have a good one.